Welcome back, folks, to the IEM Katowice Asian Minor B stream. We've got Group B elimination on the line here for the decider best of 3. And through the power of hindsight and instant replays, we can actually put a little bit of explanation there to the final round of Mirage. There was not a kit on the man who goes for the defuse. He spun around so fast, I didn't see that he actually picked it up. I told Launders it didn't happen. He took the blunt of it, and, well, it didn't change the outcome in the end. Obviously, desperation sinks in. Crazy retake attempt and a upset on their own map choice. It is Gosu now down 1-0 to the favor of ViCi Gaming as we swap over to their map choice, Train, and I don't believe we've seen Gosu here. So we've got some questions above their heads.
Yeah, you know, after watching back the clip that's on ESL's Twitter, that helped because, you know, we were watching it live and it was like, well, we just missed it because he spun around so quickly to grab the kit. I'm more impressed that he picked it up so fast and got back on the bomb.
That's what I mean.
So, so if anything, I assume when he ran to get the bomb, he knew where the kit was, and he thought he walked over it.
Right.
So that's just unlucky, maybe. Just barely missed it, and it was so close to him, he could have picked it up by accident. So a little bit of an unfortunate end to the last map. Gosu will take the L for that one. But ViCi's T side looked somewhat indomitable. There was a few rounds that they allowed Gosu to get back into it, but it still felt like they had many options that they hadn't employed yet that would allow them to close the map out. And even on that last round, it is fair to say that Gosu had a pretty good chance of winning into like the 3v3 territory, but ViCi probably could have closed it out. I don't know. Who knows what happens in the future, but at least it's not as tragic as we thought it was with the initial assumption that he had not grabbed the kit yet, or had to grab the kit yet.
Still obviously brutal that in the last 4 or 5 rounds they end up losing 2 3 versus 5 or 2 versus 5 situations. Right. So they definitely could have forced that one into an overtime. If they had denied the first 2 versus 5, it still could have been a win in regulation. But that's not the case, all right? Bygones be bygones. It's time for Gosu to reset on Train. They're having a little bit of time to stew in their setup. 45 seconds on the clock as ViCi starts moving inwards. And we've got, of course, Gosu filling up the kill feed. It's going to be traded back slightly by Freeman. He's got space on the bomb site itself. Doesn't have the bomb, however. That belongs to Advent, who's trying to deal with the player towards T-Con. The aggression from Jinx gets him cover, and then Stax snaps back at the head of Freeman. That's Gosu with a pistol.
Sorry to put you on the spot. Do we know whose map pick this is?
This is the map choice of ViCi Gaming.
Okay, so that's even worse. Okay, so Gosu got to play the map that they wanted to let through. Inferno wasn't even banned, and Inferno got through, so you got to think they picked that over Inferno, which, in my opinion, was their strongest map that we've seen so far. So pretty tough loss, just to reiterate that they lose their map pick in such fashion. But now we go on to Train. It's ViCi's map pick, and they're coming hot off a win that they probably feel very, very glad that they got. So what'll Gosu will be able to show us today? At this point, they're in a pretty good state, though. They've only gotten one SMG to try to collect cash with. A lot of Glocks on this round for ViCi. And where is Seyoke? He's over at Ivy.
Probably the furthest position away from the action at the moment. Could use those trains, however, to just sprint to the front line if need be. Redirection, so it seems, from ViCi. Maybe assuming that that smoke grenade outside of ladder could have meant that the attention was there. Regardless, they do still leave Advent as an anchor. Now they have 1 in ladder, they position 1 on Ivy, and they're going to have that 3-man cohort push out T-Con. Seyoke doesn't clear the corner. And now that creates space for Zoking to charge in. Tries to deal additional damage with that P250, but everyone comes up empty-handed other than Freeman for another. MP9 picked up and moved towards Old Bomb. Could have maybe added another to the tally, but that's not the case. Gosu stopped the hemorrhaging, and it's just a 2-0 start.
Stop the hemorrhaging? Hemorrhage the bleeding?
Stopped the bleeding, hemorrhage the hemogoblins, goblins, trolls, and ogres.
Hemoglobes.
I'm still shook, Launders, from that defuse in round 30.
Still rattled you? Okay.
Round 29.
They probably couldn't afford even the losses that they had. Even though they kept 3 up, they lost a full-on rifle. And in response, they'll grab 2 more. 4 AUGs and a M4 here on the CT side. Whereas ViCi have gotten 4 AKs. quite common to do. Again, you know, there is a much bigger difference between M4 and an AUG than there is an AK and a SIG. AK still able to perform one bullet headshots from any distance. At least any distance that we see on this map. In some theoretical situation where you could have a map that would create longer angles, potentially the damage drop off from the AK would be so great that an AK couldn't even one bullet headshot you. But not on train. Again, a more updated way that people are playing Nuke, or sorry, that the people are playing Train, specifically to watch Ivy. Where they're sitting in the middle of the site with the cover of the train and just holding it down with some kind of scoped weapon. Sometimes it's an AWP, sometimes it's an AUG. But almost every time it's effective. Look at this.
Yeah, they hold back one of the two. It is still Almond with a little bit of footing, and Advent the exact same. They've lost bomb, though. Jinx has dropped it. HSK in the midst of everything is caught off guard. 1v3 attempt. 4 kills in the round is needed. Advent not realizing his back is exposed, and that never even has to happen. Lakia from the bomb site with a kill. 2 men up for Gosu. They grab a Krieg. 6-0 for Jinx, and a 3-0 start on top of it.
Yeah, they've taken some damage, they've lost some players, but they still have enough to rebuy with a bit of money left over. Whereas ViCi are going to most likely half buy or just upgrade into deagles or something of the sort and have at it on what is going to be a basically full eco rounds. Pretty clean start here for Gosu. And again, the kind of passive setups that people have been using, it's interesting because it's a lot less committal. Sometimes you'd have 2 players in CT because there was such a high risk of one dying. Now, if you're going to play back in the site watching it passively, and that's a viable setup for you, well, you free up other spots of the map that we played more heavily with CTs. And if there isn't a response from the Ts, or the ability for them to deal with it, and I'm not actually familiar with what the best adaptation would be, then it's going to be a lot. You're going to see a lot more stronger CT sides coming out, especially with the AUGs coming into play. 1 kill already goes the way of ViCi, but Gosu answer back with 2. They fight back. They snap back. They clap back.
Snapbacks. You wear hats often, Launders? I don't think so. You're a hair guy.
I can't, yeah.
Right.
I would look ridiculous.
You'd look suspicious.
I'd look like I was up to something.
Well, HSK is up to something as well. Keeping eyes on T-Con, locking down any kind of peek out. Almond's found a gun.
It's a pretty good one, too.
Yeah, pretty damn good if you ask me. Good long-distance headshot potential.
They know that he was at Ivy last round, and it seems like...
yeah, 3 guys watching it. He extends into the shooting gallery.
Oh. Seemed like he was ready for that one duel. That wasn't going to come fast enough, and Gosu go ahead and clean up another one. Easy round for Gosu. Easy for Gosu. What's their hashtag, Connor?
Well, you can't use easy4 because that's always ends. You know, I think Natu would strike you down.
Hashtag go Gosu.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Okay.
Go Gosu. Put 2 there.
Go Power Rangers?
No, go Gosu.
I know, but is that where you got it from?
Maybe. I'm not. Don't get me copyright strike.
I don't know. Just curious where your mind is headed.
Go Gosu gamers.
You know what they would use for ViCi though?
What?
You know.
A Vita ViCi. Yeah. We'll use that if they win this series, Launders. That's what I was saving it for.
Came I saw I conquered. Have their own little Twitter icon and everything.
Listen, I think I'm going to get in contact with management. Go Gosu gamers. Like that's... Or maybe I just think my own idea is too good.
No, it's dope. I like it.
All right, thank you. Well, let's see if their executes and holds are any better. COK 2K from within the train. Freeman dropped off the ladder. Thank you. COK's gotten outwards, but they're kind of coming to a standstill here. They're just looking to lock it down, and they'll do so fantastically. I'm sorry, is this Gosu's map pick? Because that's a 5-0 start on the CT side.
I hope they're not that cocky. I hope they're not as cocky as you are. Watch, it's just going to turn around.
Right, but it is a fiery start.
It's not bad.
They're not shying away. It's like, to me personally, they don't seem lost. You know, they don't seem on Mirage, for example, their CT setups initially on that A bomb site, you know, when they're just hiding inside of the site and like trying to play in response to all the utility flying over, they didn't have counter grenades or anything like that. It seemed like they were uncomfortable in those kinds of mid-round execute situations.
Which is kind of messed up because, again, it was their map pick.
Exactly, and now we come to train and we've got an outer execute, and look what they're doing. They're throwing players up ladder room, they're pushing Sioke to the T-con. Like, it feels like they're more fluid in those sorts of situations. So far, no warning signs at all from Gosu, and it's early days. ViCi Gaming will have ample opportunities as this time they're back in on a bye. But it's nice to see that, you know, we're not going to get a blowout in the second half from what these first 5 rounds have told us.
It's a nice 2 rifle rounds that we've seen so far, and they've had less losses each time and on each of these rounds. So we can see by the new HUD utility level is low for ViCi. They're pretty light on grenades across the board. They've got a couple of Molotovs. One of those leaves the hands of Advent, leaving Freeman the only player with the power of fire. Now, what is the prerogative for ViCi? Run down the lower ramp. Force this entry out of Lakia.
Well, he stops one of the 2, make that 3. Bomb not included, so they're just going to go for the push-up, try to create space, and they do so superbly. Freeman and Kaze, each with a headshot of their own. HSK then takes further damage, lucky to be up, now down. Stacks with a response frag and a man advantage in the back pocket of ViCi, but they are gone. They've tucked tail and headed towards the A site, which they will find for free.
Again, it's on Sioke to be quick about this rotation, and sometimes it's hard to tell whether or not it's going to be some fast play back to outside or it's going to be a re-aggression. That's always what you struggle with mentally when figuring out how to do your job best. And look at this, they're just going to give it up. Outside retakes can be so daunting. They have an op to worry about. They're going to want to babysit this thing for as many rounds as they can for free. And that's all it took for ViCi to be able to win. No more fights on that round. Like, think about that. You know, they could have fought their way through inner and potentially still won, but then spilled some blood, both on their side and on Gosu's, to get there. And instead, they go a more passive route, just a very quick decision to rotate inner through ladder, or outer through ladder, and they don't have to fight anybody. They get the bomb plant money as well, and they move on with a round win. It's a situation where ViCi had 3, they just lost 1. I was so busy talking, I wasn't paying attention to the screen.
Yep.
And so it's going to be more expensive than they like it to be. But at least they are still in a pretty decent position to try to get 2 in a row. I would like to see what happens if ViCi attempt a fast barrage outside. And to see if ViCi do something different to what they did in the previous rounds. I honestly, if I was ViCi, I wouldn't try a fast barrage outside on this round. I just want to kind of see it for science.
You're a curious man, Launders.
If I was ViCi, I would test Ivy a little bit more. I mean, I guess the one thing that's really opened up if Gosu are going to play as passively as they are on Ivy is Old Bomb if they smoke right side Ivy. And also, they can get out there, wait, and then execute with you know, a full 3 choke points late in the round if they're able to get ladder first as well. This round, Gosu have not put anybody very far up towards the T-con. Smokes come out, and yeah, ViCi are down the ladder.
Already hitting up this A site. Hold on, Jinx. It's going to get real hot, real heavy. But 3 frags immediately out of Gosu. They win a bunch of duels. It's only Omen to bring it back slightly.
Amen.
Aw, man. I've done it again. I just say Omen because he's here, lurking. Ominous.
You said Omen.
Yeah, I know. I'll also say successful. That's what Advent is, all right?
Omen, synonymous with success. All right.
He's trying to find a little footing in the bomb site. Can't actually, and he's lost a teammate. Stacks was posted up on the angle, welcoming and wishing them forward. Here's the next kill. That is Lakia, just creeping and crawling all around the site. It's a team ace for Gosu, 6 rounds, and no consecutive round victories for ViCi. That is what we call a problem.
Big problem. Didn't think that they'd be able to get any of the kills once they got outside because ViCi had the sight smokes come out. Gosu did not play anyone close E-box, did not push up the ladder, did not go for T-con control, did not even have a sandwich player on that round, and ViCi ran outside. That's pretty much exactly what you want if you're ViCi, and yet Gosu find 3 kills in quick succession, and because it's train outside, it gets so damn ridiculous the amount of camera work necessary to catch all of the action that can happen simultaneously. We didn't see it. But we do know they still managed to get the kills, and that's what's most important. And they have pushed ViCi onto another save.
Taking bomb control as well here in the upper brown halls. And since there's just a few pistols, I'd like to revisit this problem, just so I'm sure we're smoothing it out here, okay?
Amen.
Almond. I'm glad you knew what I was going with. I have to keep thinking of almonds.
No, autumn.
Autumn. Almond. Autumn, almond, almond.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, making it more complicated than it really is, eh?
He's going nuts. He's almonds.
Yeah. Well, he's still alive at least this round. He's got that P250 in the back line of Ivy. Sioke's over there ready to go. But this is Gosu just flying out of the gates, Mohan. We're talking easy anti-ecos, solid gun rounds at times.
Yeah.
Sure, they let ViCi into one of the rounds, but we have a counter-terrorist team with an economy behind them. The fat stacks, the big bands.
They've taken the door off the hinges.
And threw it out the window.
And put it in his hands. And defenestrated it.
I bought a new door with gold trimmings and a glass window.
See-through door?
Those are expensive, you know.
I can imagine. Did you get blinds for it, or?
Yeah, you have to. Pretty redundant, huh?
To each their own.
Back, big one. Almond has worked his way out already towards Olaf.
Olaf.
Don't screw me up, man. These are fighting words. But off of his forward positioning, they're not going to go all in. Almond just going to wait, pump the brakes. And what's the follow-up here? Set some smokes. That seems to be what Advent's up to. Maybe work that AWP as well, I think, right now for Kaze.
It's classic train to try to get somebody out to Olaf. It's impossible to know on the T side if you've actually snuck him out or if he's been spotted or if it's just understood by the CTs that you like to do that. But we do know that he can take the lead now on the execute. He's made his way all the way down to hell. If Stax overextends here or thinks that he can fight to T-Con, he might just get blasted by a rifle. He has great line of sight, but now he's going to get smoked out. Smoke back 6, super important. Almond gets the first kill, and he wraps the train. Easy 2K for him.
Nice. It's nice to see that forward positioning of his, that initial success actually transitioned into a 2K towards the round. You know, sometimes you get that first footing, you don't find your pick, and then when the play moves forward, you never really get a chance to shine. But he uses that forward positioning, and more importantly, those great supportive flashbangs. I mean, second buddy was just, you know, turtled up on the bomb site, hoping to survive. Not the case. Gosu, 3 survivors at the end of this round, but ViCi, they get that first pin in, they hold, they execute, and they hit it proper. And it doesn't even come off of an opt frag from Kaze. That was clearly meant to be a part of this equation. You know, if they go in with a man advantage on top of it all, you can only assume this is even more successful. But successful it most certainly is. It wasn't consecutive rounds off of their first, but at least it wasn't too far down the road. They will have ample opportunity to even out this half.
One of the many values of getting a player out to Olaf is if they're there, first of all, they can stop anybody from sandwich from getting too aggressive on top of blue. And from top of blue, you can watch ladder over top and have a very favorable fight on that versus, and then also deal with T-Con every once in a while, so it denies that position entirely. And then you can also sneak out to hell, and if someone from T-Con just running, jumping, throws a flash to the back at Ivy, you can blind the player who's playing back bomb or train stopper, and then whoever snuck out to Olaf that eventually snuck out to hell can peek and get that kill. And that's kind of what Almond did. I don't know if there was a supporting flash for that specific peek, but him wrapping the site, compromising all those positions around the back of bomb and train stopper was one of the most important things that we saw come out of ViCi. And now they are back to another stringent default, working on both Ivy and inner. I don't know if anybody has dropped down the ladder yet. I don't want to assume the bomb is down ladder by itself. No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, I've been here. Creeping around the top of it. Gosu don't have much map control. They're now finally having Jinx come in and sit around the ladder. I wonder how comfortable he is in this spot, if he wants to just stay here. So I feel like it is kind of important maybe that he does get something to show his team. It looks like he knows how he wants to try to find his fight as well. But there will be a lot of pressure on the inner hold.
Hot feet. Jinx still finds a little safety within it. ViCi gonna sink their teeth into B. HSK op shot down range, doubled up. Sees the guns and sees a third body. Make that a corpse.
Were those shots too easy?
Looked like it. Jinx is gonna go for the wraparound up ladder, punished by Kaze, who only has his second kill of this half so far. And not to throw out the numbers, but just to show you that ViCi's op prowess hasn't really been a key piece to their success, whereas in this round, Gosu clearly rocking the ops to lock down B. 3 frags on HSK.
So typically if you're going to explode down the lower ramp without a smoke, first of all, you can still always throw the deep smoke to Z, but if you want to get down there before the nades come out and you want to just like make sure it's a contact play, you have the op come down the left side of the ramp, then your 3 riflers just break the door down, run out to the right, and then clear the site, clear spools, everything like that. And your op just holds Z for basically the next 40 seconds and catches anybody rotating in. But Kaze was back up at ladder or something.
Yeah.
You know, and they were running down and they couldn't even trade the op. And sometimes, even if the CT op gets a kill on your rifler first, if your op jumps down with them, he can just trade it out and you go 1 for 1.
Right. Kill the opper while it's on cycle.
But instead we saw HSK get 3 easy kills. Not to discount the frags themselves. I mean, he had to hit his shots, but there was no off for him to worry about.
No, there was definitely better ways to challenge him. In the end, it didn't even look challenging. So far, the 2 gun duels this round, the exact same affair. You instantly have Zoking being pushed inside of T-Con. He was trying to play counter flash, and obviously the 2-man setup from Gosu gets the kill. He didn't have an assister himself. Traded frag as Freeman responds back from the bottom of ladder. That's where the second casualty of ViCi took place. And the last 2 remaining members without bomb are going to try to work their way out Ivy. You know, because you've got that forward positioning from Gosu, it does tend to open up this avenue, and most certainly the road being cleared. Amen with 1 more. Gets himself into cover, wary of a player up and above. That's not the case. It's beneath he needs to keep his eyes on, but now he knows it. Walks into the op, didn't know where Stacks had gotten off to. And Kaze again.
A bit disjointed from Kaze to be so far away if his teammate is out in the site. I think he was maybe walking back from Ivy.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like you're walking back from Ivy. Sure, you're worried that maybe someone pushed T-Con. Remember, they did push T-Con Gosu at the beginning of the round, but all the while, Amen, he's in the midst of it. You know, he's in the frying pan, going down with a fight, and Kaze, just like when his team ran down that B ramp, is not in the impact at all.
Is Jackie Chan in the laundromat? Where's Chris Tucker?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't want to be Chris Tucker. I want to be Jackie Chan.
Jackie just wants some Mushu.
Things are getting a little scary now here, Mohan. Sure, the ops move forward, but he's going to have to be an instrumental piece to an upset round here in the 12th if they're going to pick this up. That's right, we are 12 rounds deep on the map choice of ViCi, and they only have 2 rounds. Unleash the beast. Unleash the Kaze. Or just light him on fire.
Yeah, at least on this round, he's going to be forced to try to open up the first engagement or something. Maybe he doesn't, and they just go ahead and
save him
collect
again.
his op after he. Yeah, and you know what? There is value in him not dying.
100%.
You know, if they want to be able to have this next round, but it doesn't seem like the op is helping too much on their T side stuff. From what we've seen, there's obvious problems so far. But again, this is ViCi's map pick, so I think it's fair to be critical of the op if they're going to use it on T side. Don't know if they retrieved it or if they bought it themselves.
Had it for a few rounds now. I think that's a good point you've just made. We can be critical of this lackluster op placement because it is their T side. You know, this is the terrorist side that they're supposedly supposed to be most prepared for. Where them picks at? On the side of Gosu. Another one from HSK. So the ops downrange, hammering home the message that Gosu's CT side is not a slump. They're not chumps.
Oh my goodness.
Little game of chicken. Almond walks into the AK, will blast Jinx back, flash high. This is a clutchable situation.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, if he gets a kill, he can get the bomb. Does he know
knows where
the
they
other
both
players
are.
there? Oh my goodness. Oh, but Lakia does not wait to get peeked. He'll
Right.
go ahead and take the fight into his own hands.
Just the right move to make. Two snipers moving forward. For
Damn.
Gosu, that is.
Damn, Gosu, where was this last map?
Yeah, seriously.
What the hell's going on here?
Well, I mean, to be honest, what's wild is that ViCi's T-sides, we praised them. The executes onto the A site, they had nice set-piece utilities on that, good rotations through middle as well, even on their anti-ecos in B, like, it looks so fluid. And they're just not there. So I guess the question isn't, Gosu, where was this? It's ViCi, where have you gone?
This is another situation, though. I mean, Gosu yesterday versus MVP couldn't pull out the first map that was definitely theirs, and then completely got stomped on the map pick of MVP on Nuke, and then we didn't even see the third map. So, you know, that's really unfortunate. Would be a terrible exit from the entire minor if that happens again to them in their second attempt, but it is 2 best of 3s. What more can we do for you? Got to show up. Jinx here in the ladder. Been pretty successful here, like not dying, I want to say. It's 13 and 5 so far on the map. Important to have a CT player in this position that is willing to be able to fight for himself and not be able to rely on rotates or rely on just teammates to support. But he can also fall back as he does. You know, outside execute might be good. Gosu have some information, but not a whole lot. It's just that they have 2 ops, so they don't really need to move so much. Smokes potentially could be very effective.
Yeah, little set piece going in. Frags coming out for ViCi, 30 seconds up. No man advantage, but at least the rotators are still sectioned inside of connector. Jinx loses the duel, Lakia trades it right away, and here we go. ViCi on the board. Barely at times, seeing as Freeman was so low on HP, but they moved it forward, and they moved it forward convincingly. You know, Gosu didn't have a chance to rotate preemptively, and when the rotate did come in, it was very much predicted through Z.
Didn't see that many smokes that round, but it was kind of a full execute from ViCi. And the ladder play works out this time. The entries fall into place. The ops go down. It felt like it rested on just the outcome of a couple of duels that took place on a moment's notice, and Gosu didn't show up. So ViCi take a simple one away from Gosu and make this half look more competitive. Again, every round they get from this point on is a boon for the second half. A security blanket, a little bit of extra padding so that they can make some mistakes. Because even if they have a successful half, they've got to account for randomness.
Ooh. Thick nade. Softening up the stationary ViCi, activating their push now into the B site. 2 guys take the high road, fast entry frags. Lakia now the only man on defense, and he punishes SoKing for what were missed shots. Whiffed opportunities.
Bomb has been planted.
Bomb still does go down. Deep grenade again to soften up Advent. And Seoke's on this ladder flank. Great play from Kaze to control the upper halls. That would create this question as to whether there are terrorists on the bomb site, and even though they're not, Stax won't know that. He's gonna have to come soaring forward, running in. He's got the kit, but no utility to cover himself. Huge health advantage over top of the remaining players, but he knows he's at a loss here. He knows he's gonna get double peak, so he will save.
He had the kit at the very least, but no utility. If he had 1 smoke, he probably could have tried to go for that. Killed the player who peeked from either upper or lower ramp, and then either stuck a defuse, even smoked defuse in that situation. There were options, but without utility, oh man, pretty much unwinnable. So they let ViCi not only get the bomb down, but let it explode. ViCi secure the round with 2 alive, and again, towards the end of this half, are suddenly starting to come alive. I think they've also done a good job of making it less obvious that they might take inner. Like, if I'm Gosu, I'm not actually sure if they're going to try outside again, because as many times as they failed on the outside executes, they also had recently had one very successful round with the ladder play. They could employ that again. You never know. And it's Gosu here on round 15 with just basically pistols. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Seoki just runs up into the ladder default. Jinx is right behind him. The bomb is down. Is it upstairs? It is, and Kaze gets totally barrel-stuffed by Lakia. He's not stopping. He's holding W. He's getting op kills, and it's just Zoking left alone. See, this is what we look forward to.
That's wild.
This is what it's all about at the Asia Minor.
Like you said, aggression is a feature, not a flaw. That was gnarly. 3 players go flying up. When I first saw Seoki, I'm thinking to myself, like, what's this fool doing? But he has so many bodies behind him. And Zoking gives up his direction. Nice off angle from Jinx, but he can't win that duel. Lakia peeks wide. 3 kills and not the 4th. It was wild. It was fun. But it doesn't work out in the end. It falls flat, but still fun to watch, folks. Gosu Gaming still established 10 rounds on that CT side. It's ViCi on the defense next, but we need to take a break. You know the routine. We'll see you soon. Don't you go anywhere.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, HyperX, Betway, and Pay Safeguard.
Thank you, folks, for sitting pretty and being patient with us. We've got ViCi Gaming versus Gosu, map 2 with an advantage to ViCi. This is their own choice, and now we'll have to see if they can make the defense happen. 5 terrorists round is not a lot, Launders, but it is enough, seeing as they should be competent on their map choice.
And they won so many of those rounds near the end of the half, it makes, probably, I don't know if it makes you also feel more confident, but it definitely makes me feel more confident. It makes me feel confident that they feel confident.
I feel confident
I feel secondhand confidence.
But I also feel uncomfortable still because of the wild way that last round finished. You know, that was...
ViCi won, by the way.
Yeah, it serves as a reminder to me that anything can happen in Counter-Strike. But alas, here we go. I think it is going to take a pistol. You know, when you have only 5 rounds, it's a bit of a cliche, but pistol becomes that much more important. So to see them lose the initial duel over on Ivy, the red flag halfway raised.
Early kill, so Gosu can slow it down.
I feel like they played slow pistol on Mirage as well. You know, it's the beauty of the T side. You kind of set the pace. And then I feel like that's even more so on pistol rounds because you're not getting counter-terrorists flashing and frag grenading forward. So ViCi will have to sit back and relax. Try to relax as the T's barrel through you, or at least towards you, because Freeman's not moving unless it's forward into the gunfight. Tries to reaggress, loses his head, and then so does Kaze. It's going to be Amen and Zoking. 1v1 separated fights. No trade potential, and HSK.
God damn.
I tasted that one.
Yeah, the P250 is going to be better even than your USP, I guess, from that distance. Just the amount of damage it can do. Nice shots from HSK in the 2v2. Something that could have been up in the air if he didn't hit those.
And separate duels as well, right? Right side train, headshot. Left side train, headshot. We're right into the gun rounds for Gosu. In fact, we've got a force buy over on ViCi. Maybe feeling the heat, seeing as they are down by 6 rounds.
Yeah, it could be. Wonder what they'll try to get a hold of, considering they're light on guns that can do damage at long ranges. I mean, even this UMP, the damage drop-off nerf has just been crazy to it. So we've got Amen at the bottom of Ivy, finishing off the target on the right side here. HSK has also taken quite a bit of damage. This will be a terrible round to lose. They've got to be worried moving into this half that their T side is not as fully fleshed out as they'd like to think it is. Definitely a team that's changed a lot of stuff recently. So they can't recover the gun from Snacks. That's one thing that's nice for Gosu. It's dropped so far back that it's a bit out of reach for the time being. Gosu they seem to know what they want to do quite yet. Ladder will be hard to drop down. Advent has not been shied off this angle. And with 45 seconds left, if they show enough presence, it's going to alarm ViCi to rotate inner. There we go. That's going to burn some time off the clock. And it looks like we're about to have a split performed on the inner site. Or, yeah. Oh my goodness, they're really getting into position quickly. And all of this is heard by the ladder player, so another rotate's going to come out.
Zoking's actually hot on their heels, dies instantly. 15 seconds, and they know they just have to go and try and rush right through. Advent does catch one with that P250. That's decent damage, but now the rifles take back control of the situation. At this distance, it's their game to play. But Freeman does connect the first Eagle headshot. He's going to walk up lane. Sioke peeks in. Sioke goes down. And he almost lines that up, last shot up. It would have been huge.
With a Y.
2 Ys.
All caps, underspace.
Hot damn.
Underlined.
I mean, considering the start that ViCi had, 5v4, they got the read. We had Gosu playing against time. I mean, you know, you can see it piecing together in all of your minds where that's one of those rounds pistols can actually win. And then after 2 Dirty Deagle headshots, the third one almost seems like the easiest.
Dude, he lined that up so well.
Right.
He predicted the fight.
Position.
Super nice. Really good attempt. And it was costly. And Gosu, I mean, honestly thought they were going to lose with how much time they had left over and how fast they rushed into lining up their grenades. To be honest, I would have been more confident in them if they looked more confident and just took their time lining up their grenades. They alarmed the rotates to inner. And they didn't seem like they were ready to set up, but at least they get another round to farm. It was a force up on that one, so Zoking at the minimum gets 1 here. Everybody else goes down without a fight, and that leaves Amen to fight alone. Gosu pick up another round, 13-5, and that's 2 pistols so far this game. It's definitely had a dramatic impact on the outcome of what we've seen so far.
It's starting to feel like maybe those last 3 rounds, ViCi closed their first half with kind of like, you know, we always talk about when there's a really lopsided score, for example, at that time, you know, being 12-2, where the team in the substantial lead kind of lets off the gas pedal. You know, you lose a little mental fortitude because you are in control of the situation. That feels even more so the case now that the second half has started off so strong. But to be fair, we had a pistol, we had an awkward force buy with not even full SMGs/scouts, then a save, and now this. So if there's ever a chance to turn it around, it begins here with Freeman.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, he knows Seoke's walked out. That's an easy backstab. Retreats into his teammates, so now the B site bolstered. And no control elsewhere for Gosu. They have time to go clear things out and double back, but
I really think this is going to be a long game. I don't know. There's not a lot of information to go off of, but Gosu's T sides have just been so 50-50. Now they fall back into maybe an execute. I think, you know, we're still at 45 seconds. They can work a pick slowly if they'd like to, but it's not that easy to do via T-Con without an op. And Jinx has crept all the way out ladder. Yes, he is crossing the site by the assistance of his own smoke. Oh, interesting how much ground they're gaining.
there's a second one. Headshots are working out, so it's at least back into the even ground. And Alman,
oh my god.
Nope, can't line it up. We've got Gosu breaking back in. I mean, ViCi Gaming did it to Gosu on Mirage. These 3v5 environments seem to be where they excelled. Well, hell, Gosu's got one of their own. It's not done just yet. Got Freeman and Kaze up. Freeman trying to find a duel on his own accord, but everybody's hiding. And while Kaze does spot a body, now Freeman's gonna walk forward. That draws him in, and it makes it go from bad to worse. Gosu 3v5.
Okay, I eat my words. Really nice mid-round from Gosu. The three players lurk out of T-Con. They all get, no, one of them comes out of ladder, but none of them die doing it. They don't get spotted for a long time, and then they individually really step up. Super good stuff. I mean, for ViCi, they're kicking themselves because they didn't win any of their duels, but they did allow Gosu to get out a lot farther than they would have liked. I mean, that's for certain. They even had an op on that round. They had all the guns and everything that they needed to, and Freeman got those 2 kills so early. You'd think, all right, this is definitely over. They drew that round out and were rewarded for it. Gosu on the brink of a victory. ViCi will actually have another buy to follow up to that one. What can Gosu show us here? A Z smoke.
Nice flash. Head stack. Gets Zoking's angle offset. And they will certainly clear him out. But there we have it. A couple kills right off the bat from ViCi. The moment Gosu try to hammer their head into the A site, these CTs in close proximity now have a 1v3 advantage. Stacks, though, he's been lights out for Gosu. Wouldn't it be wild if he goes ahead and secures overtime at least with a 1v3? His Advent's up and above. Now dropped. Problem is, bombs up there too. He makes further noise. He's peeked from Train Stopper, and Kaze comes in for the clutch. He'll shut it all down. ViCi to 6. Having to reinvest, of course. Only 2 survivors on that round. But Gosu are lucky to have HSK. 8.2 thousand in the bank, and they're going to buy up around him.
The one thing I think we saw that was cool was the way that ladder was taken, which is not one of the more complex ways to take it. It's just the totem pole drop, but it's how the flash drops to the right side. So when they fall down, even though they drop with the flash, it's actually out of vision for them. So it's a specific angle so that you can drop down and stay looking forward. Whereas we saw the MP9 had to turn his attention away for just a second, and when he looked back, there were 2 people staring at him. It's a very simple, not very expensive, and not very committal way to take ladder. I mean, it's committal in the sense that you have 2 players, but not in the sense that you're using execute or utility that you would like to have for your execute or your post plan. It's only a single flashbang, and it's pretty effective. So I think it was Zoking in the face of it last time. Let's see if they try to get that opening frag again. Honestly, if you have a nice way to take ladder, or if you feel like you can bully the ladder player and he's not coming up with kills every single time, this is a great way to find your first kill and not allow the CTs to be able to trade it. Again, if you're going to be playing ladder, a lot of the times you're going to be untradeable. You're not going to get support from your teammates. It's very difficult to help. So there's a lot of emphasis on strong individual performances from this part of the map, and ZoKing has had a rough game.
Still holding on to that forward positioning. Looking to even go one further. ZoKing, yep, still going to keep himself up there. While Jinx heads towards B, we've seen him fake B on Mirage. Seems like he might do the exact same thing here. He's kind of the one-off. Could hold that rotator, but looks like he's going to double back towards ladder eventually. 20 seconds is not giving Gosu much time to make this happen. Bomb very clearly thrown out into the open, so they know it's there, and it's been shut down near entirely. Only one kill in the mix there for Gosu. ViCi, they were well informed. You know, they were ready for exactly that, and they held it back after the fact.
If you've got players who can be aggressive on outside on train, then you'll have a lot of success versus rushes. It can get quite uncomfortable when the flashes come cascading over the site and the smokes land around you, to be separated from your teammates and to have to be in constant flux between two positions, or working around a train, or moving up a ladder, or dealing with somebody who has moved up a ladder to fight you. To stay calm, collected, and have clarity of mind in those engagements. So there's a lot of value in having aggressive players that know how to play outside on train. Seems like ViCi seem to be very comfortable in these situations. Gosu will have to put them to the test, but at the same time, they've only got to win one really good round, and this could all be over for ViCi. Inner will be a threat. The random opening kill that could come at any moment could be a threat, whether it's ZoKing at ladder, or if it's just a lucky fragger outside, if their Opera works a duel. Kaze wasn't all that impressive on the T side. I don't think that carries over to this half, but right. something to consider. Yeah,
we saw him really down there, but already starting to find more of a re-emergence, I'd say. So we'll see if he can continue that success. At the moment, it's this B hit with just pistols that has somehow overwhelmed Amen. Sure, Freeman and Kaze, they're good to go. Utility downrange. Bomb planted, however.
And see, like, Freeman has been fantastic inside, but like, he switches for 1 second and then is lucky to get a kill. If those were rifles to come down the ramp, he might not have gotten any frags, because they could have just randomly lost that round. There's going to be a certain amount of that, and that's why you have to do your due diligence in the first half to give you some padding for human error or just variance, randomness that can happen in the second half, and they don't really have that. ViCi do come in to clean it up, but they also allow a bomb plant to go down, so Gosu's economy is a bit more strengthened at this moment, and HSK has picked up his op. He's been pretty fantastic overall. Not just in the map, but in the series. And what do we have here? Freeman's actually going ahead and peeking inner early. That won't tell him much at this point. He's come up, he's seen nobody's fallen back. But they hear the footsteps, they know that they're lurking around in the brown and white halls.
No damage off that nade.
That's always a bit of a trap too. As you bounce that nade hard off the wall. Oh my goodness, HSK takes so much damage. Was that from a headshot or it's just a...
I think headshot. I saw it go down in one chunk. Hits the Opera on top of it all. So now he's going to be susceptible to the follow-up shot. Question remains, how do you get ZoKing out of here? We've seen some head boost drops before. It's enough utility for Gosu as well to work it that way, but Mohan, they really do play with the time on their T side. We've seen them in some hectic situations caused by these delays.
Yeah, and they oftentimes do make it worthwhile, but there's only so much you can do on train before you need to just start getting out into the site. And it does take a long time to cross the actual site itself. Sandwich Molotov to push Amen off. It's a perfect Molotov, lands on the top of the train as well.
Nice, gets the bomb carrier, then sprays down into the next one. All the while, Kaze has picked up a kill off the op, so 2v4 and a desperate bomb plant. That's Stack's strategy. Not gonna work at all.
The paradox of Gosu is that they love executing, but they're not necessarily great at it. They love executing, and they clearly give it a lot of thought, and it's a huge like kind of feature of their T side that we end up having to talk about because it takes up the majority of the rounds. But somewhere along the line, as soon as the players have to no longer think about where the nades are landing, whether it comes to what their route is supposed to be when they enter the site, what they're supposed to watch for their teammates, that's stuff that's hard to see for us. But that might be stuff that, if they iron that out a little bit, every kill falls into place. It seems like that's where they struggle the most. And ViCi, they're a little bit looser. They're kind of like the fire to Gosu's ice. I think in the game of rock, paper, scissors, fire wins, right?
Yeah, of course. Fire, ice, dirt.
But, yeah, ViCi are much more fluid outside. They trust their individuals. They roam around. They're hard to spot. And they're all happy to take their duels. And Gosu are almost always just getting shot in the side of the head, losing multiple kills without getting kills. It's hard to blame them. Train is difficult, but this is what they asked for. Another eco round for Gosu. Maybe we look back on that that one round where they mid-rounded the 3v5 and think, man, if Gosu win the map, they barely did it because of that round. ViCi will now get double digits and also build up a ton of money.
Yeah.
The potential for OT grows greater.
This is going to be an incredible map win for ViCi, considering that, you know, Gosu already have 4 rounds on this T side by way of pistol and full conversions. So, like, if they didn't have that going for them, we'd be seeing something, like, we wouldn't even be believing in this. If this was all tied up at 10-10, right? I mean, it wouldn't. Those 4 rounds would be ViCi. It could very easily be 14-10 the other way. But, you know, I've not been impressed with Gosu's T side. Kind of getting lost on the map a little. Seem to have more of a defensive setup than they do an offensive one. But at least they have the buy if ever it's going to get easier. And then you always ask yourself as well, like, you know, they're going to hit a breaking point where they're so close to losing the map that they're just going to try to say, screw this structure, let's play loose, let's just try to run out and get kills, let's play a little more individualistically. You'd think, you know, you can only do this type of Counter-Strike so many times before it kind of frustrates you.
This is that kind of loose hit outside. Lakia gets that instant trade. Zoking, however, for 2, and Stacks picks Kaze out of the air.
That's a big headshot for him. Stacks with another one. Looking to be the difference maker in round 25. Advent falls back with Freeman shoulder to shoulder. And then they split. Freeman's going to double back over towards the Z connector. Sioke red as he walks through smoke, and Stacks has it all to do. The bomb carrier with a minute on the clock, 2 kills, full utility, and a potential 4K in the round.
Look at this. They've had some pretty good mid-rounding so far. Just the 2 players falling back to pick up Ivy and Old Bomb, just so that they have their backs against the wall. They can see out towards the train yard, and even though there's so much madness outside, they know that nobody can be behind them. And here, they put themselves in the rotator spot, so if Stacks gets a kill and Z runs through, he'll find another person. And if he plants outside or inside, they can always go ahead and double team him really easily. Not a lot of ways that Stacks can pull this off. He has a Molotov, 2 flashes. At least Advent's quite low. But yeah, they're watching both sides of Z at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to have to run, so they're going to get a little bit of a warning sign. Has no clue whether they've gone into the depths of the B site or if they are both behind him. They are, of course, just already charging forward. Good call there from ViCi Gaming to go doubled up inside of Z. You know, it's a narrow tunnel, but there's only 2 ways in and out. So you've got 2 sets of eyes, 2 guns, and now 3 rounds, the difference.
They played it really well. And yeah, just so much money left over. They're just going to be, you know, offering to drop for each other at this point just to stay away from 16K. And whereas Gosu will be on a buy save situation, didn't even get the bomb plant on that one. So this will be one of their last chances to close the map out in regulation. Zoking is starting to rack up the kills a little bit more. He only had 4 in the first half, I think. So this is already a lot better for performance, and he controls a very important part of the map. So hopefully he is feeling confident if ViCi want to be able to pull this one out.
Kaze as well in this round could do some serious damage with this op. Jinx is not the only player walking forward, but Kaze does put himself on full display.
That is a very confident pick. Someone could wide swing on him and he misses and he's just dead.
Puts a smoke at the feet, comes back in and helps with Freeman. No ramp pressure at all. Oh yes, excuse me, one does come down. Freeman just made such quick work of it, we didn't even get to catch it. So now it's Stax and Sioke falling into Zoking, one after another bomb potentially to come following up, and yep, he's gonna get them both. The stars shine here for ViCi Gaming, locked down utterly out of the B site, and like you said, one of the last few gun rounds before they will be giving up regulation, it is pistols only for Gosu.
And as you said, Kaze is doing a lot better on CT side with the op than he was on T side. Freeman has been a rock inside. He has been a complete wall shutting them out from getting in there, and the only time they've been able to trade him out is when he like randomly switched, for example, and so that's a big problem for them. Their outside takes, for the most part, have fallen flat completely. And with Zoking holding ladder, if he's going to be able to get kills, that's a very critical choke point for them to take over. Not even because they want to come out of it, but because if they know there's a ladder player there, he's a threat when they try to plant the bomb. And he can also help his teammates rotate from inner to retake outside as well. So, you know, him being there is going to be a big problem. We don't know if there's oh, well, we don't know if he's a spawn, but at this round it won't matter so much. It's going to be in a half buy, or basically an eco for Gosu as they even out their money and try again before the last time they potentially tie up against ViCi. Next round, it'll be important to see, does Zoking get a ladder spawn? How do they approach Zoking? They found a really good way to neutralize him on that previous round, or one of the first rifle rounds of this half, where they did the double drop down with the flash. If they pull something like that out again, that could be huge. There it is. They take him out, and it's on pistols.
And a fast split, too. Bomb's going to go flying forward. Almond not sure where it's at, so it's planted up and above. Now, once the smoke grenades fade, you'd think line of sight goes back into the hands of the CTs. But in the meantime, they haven't managed a single kill. Lakia goes charging forward. Amin, he takes to the skies, uses the verticality of the office to find a couple of kills. 3v3, and now that bomb halfway gone. Further smoke for HSK gives temporary cover, but the CTs use it to their advantage. They push up the wall using that. Now they double back. They need to get this bomb defused, but Jinx is going to play in the smoke, and Amin can't find bomb. He jumps up. Is there time? Freeman, he's going to jump on it, and he's got it. A hectic retake, a hectic anti-eco, and a hell of a round from Gosu, just blowing up that A site.
And they might think, wow, that was a round we could have forced, but with the situation it was, buy save on max loss, they're almost never going to do that, so they can't get mad at themselves for not buying. They did use one of their strategies I would have saved for a rifle round, which was the way that they took ladder with the totem pole drop and flash. They hadn't used it for so long, and the first time they used it, it worked flawlessly. They do it again, and now Zoking is going to be maybe more prepared to deal with that than he was last round. Could be a problem. One of the only ways out that we've seen for Gosu to be able to get the opening kill and potentially lead themselves to a round victory.
That round does serve as a fine reminder, however, that, you know, it's only going to take one slip up from ViCi, one good attempt from Gosu to at least get them into OT. That's got to kind of reinvigorate the confidence. It's been a long spree of rounds in a row prior to the previous.
This could be huge. They've attracted the attention of all the CTs. Back six smoke comes out as well.
Got them kind of boxed in. They get the further entry too. Now someone has to step up for the counter-terrorists. They're going to have to even out the numbers.
Oh, these are cool late smokes that are coming out, assisting them in lurking to outside. They've got tons of control at the moment. It's the CTs who have no idea what's going on.
Freeman's down. Kaze missing his second shot opens this round up so wide for Gosu. So they come into the A site, Mohan, but they come at it from a completely different direction, and with those guns on top of it all.
That was nice. That was hard. That was difficult to deal with. They basically had cover to get from the bottom of Ivy to the top of Ivy to Old Hell to Sandwich, and it was the CTs who got pushed into this area of the map that all Ts want you to be in, which is behind the bomb train. Everything by the Z connector behind the bomb train, that's where you try to funnel all the players on the CT side. the choke point on, or coming out of T-Con, you try to get hell control so that that train stopper is compromised, so that back of the bomb is compromised. You get Ivy so that everybody who's playing sandwich or positions that are out in the middle of the yard are no longer useful. Ultimately, everything is covered with the choke points that the T's are given, apart from behind the bomb. And if you know that you've got everything else covered and they're all just funneled into this one area, it's so much easier to crush them. And Gosu pull out a really cool strat, and it's great that we see something nice to talk about on their T side towards the end of the half. This map could potentially be theirs. Will they perform something similar this round? Or do they think that they won't be able to pull it off again? It started with a really important off duel, obviously, at Ivy. That went down for free. I don't think it was admins. It must have been Kaze. But this round, he's not there.
Small details. See, okay, goes out, throws his smoke, runs back to spawn, and actually buys a frag grenade to replenish his utility. So, if that frag grenade wins the round, we got a 600 IQ play. Obviously, ViCi going to be a little more wary of Ivy. HSK will catch the duel. That's a long gunfight, too, all the way over towards the outside of ladder. Heavy utility usage on Ivy's, drawing the attention of Advent, calling the rotator over in the form of Freeman through Z. Advent re-peaks, wins the duel, drops the bomb, and doubles down onto Lakia. A third off of Advent. Sioke is going to try to clear out this position, but then he too falls, and ViCi rocked them to the core. They had their openings. They won another op duel, just like you said, a crucial piece to the previous round when Gosu actually won. And this time, Advent's got other ideas.
And Advent did turn around to dink the first player. It was Lakia, who wide swung on him the last time they had that exact same duel. And the only reason Gosu won is because Lakia had an AK, and he wasn't able to kill him in one shot. So, you know, there is something to say about the fact that he was more prepared for that fight this time, had a better gun, and just completely destroyed him. They threw all the nades they needed to come out. I mean, it was basically 3v1. They had him thoroughly, I mean, completely isolated, and should have been able to deal with that at best 1 for 2, if not 1 for 3. But they couldn't even do that. So now we're here. We've arrived. The 30th round. And Gosu's buy is not that great.
Nope.
We got a budget AK on the board, whereas ViCi have an op. They've got AUGs, they've got nades, all the Molotovs they can need to play this round out as long as they need to.
Considering that the last 2 rounds had a crucial op duel won by Gosu before they could run into the site, and now they don't have that sniper.
Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? Oh, they tried to set it up.
And Zoking, cerebral, goes for the play preemptively, catches the 5 versus 4. If ViCi Gaming get this into overtime, I can't help but feel like they win. Gosu have only won 2 gun duels, 2 gun rounds on this entire T side.
Yeah.
And obviously when we go into overtime, we're not going to switch. So ViCi can just continue this momentum. But we're not there yet, folks. We've seen all too many rounds come crumbling down in the 30th, but it's already another follow-up kill here for Alman. Advent back out from Z, drops bomb, and Lakia is going to fly over to the green train. Comes downwards, tries to duel, and Kaze hits them both. So, more than 30 rounds needed to close out map 2. Could still very well be a Gosu affair, but they need to take a breath and figure out this overtime half.
Yeah, I think we do move directly into it, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't want to get caught calling it a break, but with us, we go directly into the game, so we're just continuing the action. I like that.
I need a breath, though.
Okay, you take the breath. I'll go ahead and flap my lips. So we had basically a better round there from Zoking to go and take that fight early. He's been pretty confident peeking, and that's, again, the kind of play that you need to be able to make when you're playing by yourself. You can't play just so passively that you're willing to try to delay for as long as possible, but as soon as they peek you, you die. You have to sometimes go out there, and he does pick a really good opportunity to do it. They also looked a lot less confident when they actually swung out of the ladder. Jinx fluffed his spray on the back of bomb, even though he had 2 lined up. You could see the pressure building as they knew that they weren't favored in a lot of these T rounds. And as you mentioned, you got to assume that ViCi have a much higher chance of winning at this point. Considering Gosu have won both pistols, ViCi's T side, it's fair to say, is better, even though it was very flawed.
but they do lose the duel versus Zoking. This time expecting him to go for the lookup, but Almond runs in, down. He's dropped, popped into the 5 versus 3. Remember, 2 gun rounds, 2 actual gun rounds for Gosu over the 15 of their T side. For them to even win 1 in overtime would set them up with a better average already. Here we go. They have a 2-man advantage. Advent runs wide. So many targets for him to take down that he gets overwhelmed, and Kaze from the back line will op a single player. So, how do they get going? How do they get into this? There's no smoke for ViCi.
A lot of nades, though.
They do have the distance advantage, but could be problematic as they have to get moving forward. Freeman.
Oh.
He's just going to walk right through this smoke. Seoke tries to turn around, but he's a little too quick, Freeman. Now, Molotov, and he picked up that smoke. That goes down onto the bomb, pulls Stacks into the action. He's trying to fire into the smoke, covered by Kaze. HSK goes down. What a sick retake from ViCi.
That was nuts, man. That was so sick. I mean, everything they did was so good there. The double Molotov and a ladder, they just nailed it, knew exactly where the last 2 players would be. I mean, that is the beauty and the folly of the best after-plan spots. They're so useful. They're complete cover. They're hard to wallbang. But if people know you're there and you've held on to utility, they can lock you into that spot.
Right,
you make you commit to this thing that can't be wallbanged, that you can't wallbang back out of. So, well done from ViCi. They absolutely, I mean, they probably needed that round. We don't even know if that's imperative at this point. But Gosu had the 5v3. They let it drop when it mattered the most. We're into the 2nd round of OT. 4 rounds per half, obviously. Or 3 rounds per half. And 1st to 4 win.
Obviously, he says. You know what's not obvious is this push-up from Zoking. I don't think I can remember the last time we had full T-Con control. Smokes and flashbangs and all sorts of goodies. A deep T-smoke comes supportively from Gosu. I believe that was thrown by Jinx. Big old wraparound. Not something we'd actually seen during regulation, so it's nice to see Gosu have some depth here, trying to play with the haymaker and the fake. They double back, relax over towards Old Bomb. And it looks like ViCi's not biting on this. They're just going to hold their positions and continue to win their duels. Every time they get a target, they've taken them down until now. Stacks brings it back with 1. Advent then cleared, and it comes down into the clutch. Freeman versus Stacks, both with 100 health.
Oh, man. I would not want to go up against Freeman in this 1v1, but Stacks is ready for the challenge. 3 kills and the 1v1 to close it out. 26 and 18.
Yeah, big. I mean, if there's anybody on this T side that's kind of above and beyond, it is Stacks. Jinx by his side has been there regularly. Seoke catching up throughout regulation. But Stacks, my man, doing work in that one. That was different. We had not seen something like that. And even though ViCi started picking up all these kills in the mid-round, you know, it really looked like they were getting in control of the situation. All it took was a snap of the fingers, Gosu sandwiching 3 players, and then obviously a crucial 1v1 clutch. A 1v1 clutch is always fantastic, but even more so in OT.
Looked like a round that they had figured out, and had to rely on Stacks to pull off the 1v2, but oof, in the early round, just set everything up so well. HSK gets another op duel opening on the T side. This is big. Gosu growing stronger on these T side rounds, surprisingly. Could have had 2-0 already, and are already into the 3rd round, the last round of this half, with an opening duel.
Exchange of grenades. Zoking has to feel the heat. Could be pinched through ladder room 2. So yeah, all right, they'll smoke it off. That makes sense. Freeman's trying to play proactive, gets the headshot into T-Con. HSK can't give chase because of the follow-up flames. So they wait instead.
Yeah, tense positions to be this far up. And again, late in the round, they've got no utility left. Kaze at least has his Molotov, but he's also got an op in hand. One goes down the lower ramp, and that's going to stuff the face of the plans of Gosu, who wanted to come down right before it.
Zoking on the bomb site itself. He's just going to play the cover, listening for audio, trying to find the perfect time to strike. Does drop bomb at the very least, but nobody's covering Stacks' push-up, who then goes on for another kill. I mean, the guy can clutch, and he can clearly take down players too here in a hectic situation.
Wow.
Dropped by Kaze.
He hunted that one down.
Really wanted to kill. Tags up Jinx, but now Freeman caught in the scope. Gosu with as many T rounds in overtime as the entire regulation.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah, they are getting better. Somehow they're getting better, and ViCi had let it slip.
There's no denying that Stax hasn't been the difference maker in overtime.
Sure.
I mean, 1v1 clutch round, that in and of itself has intrinsic value, but bailing out his team on that B bomb site, you know, there was a little wiggle room given away by Gosu, or excuse me, ViCi, and Stax would happily take it with both hands.
If we look at ViCi's half on their T side go of it, objectively speaking, it was messy, and they were probably lucky to get 5.
Yep.
So even though they had more rounds, it's not going to be, none of these are going to come for free. Maybe that means it's going to continue to be messy. Maybe it just means it was messy because it was the beginning of the map. I'm not sure.
They did come into their T side at the end, right? Remember, ViCi picking up 3 rounds after losing 10 to 2. He's trying to do a lot of mental math all at the same time, Launders. Good time to take a pause. Here's something interesting as well. Gosu actually do not have any pauses remaining. They used all 4 in regulation, and unless I am mistaken, you don't get extra for overtime.
And that was ViCi's last?
I don't know. I don't have a cue.
I don't either.
A visual cue.
Maybe just a small break.
I don't have all the answers, Launders.
It's okay. That's okay.
All right.
So I'm going into this tabula rasa.
Clean slate.
Blank tablet.
Let's see what they've got for us. Immediately Gosu into the double op setup between Stax and HSK. Counter sniper in the form of Kaze, no surprise, but he did have a fall off on this T side. Let's see if he can bring it back in OT when it matters most. Soaking, tagged up, and the CT may not realize, but he's going to charge right forward, trying to clear out the bomb site, misses the last bullet in his spray down. Very well could have had the pick. HSK dodging shots, Jinx wide swinging to drop bomb, and then Kaze still goes one better. But there's a close player on smoke. That's Lakia and then Jinx both down. Cleared out of the bomb site, putting Stax completely sectioned off by smoke into the clutch again.
Kaze goes ahead and wins his. ViCi even up. And again, folks, 1st to 19. 2 more rounds left in this half.
It's got to be flawless.
Either of these teams have to win the next 2 rounds. If Gosu lose this round in a 10K OT, they're probably going to lose the match.
High likelihood, especially considering that they went with the double op setup back-to-back rounds.
As we can see, buying down to 0.
Light grenades,
Won't
no
be able to
kits.
afford ops next round. Yeah, they've got 2 ops, and because of that, don't have grenades on those players. HSK at least has his smoke and his HE, but that's it. Opportunity to strike. Or we go to another OT. Stax. Ooh, just barely missing that shot. I mean, you run that back one more time, I feel like. He puts one to bed, but look at this. All the CTs, they're grouped up towards the front of the site. This is kind of nuts to me. They're on fast rotation. Flockia doesn't go hard, though.
He needs at least 1.
He needs, yeah, he needs at least 1 and stay alive.
Gets the warning, can't get that kill. 12 bullets, the difference there for, or 12 HP, excuse me, for Freeman. And obviously ViCi, they're just gonna pounce off the back of this for sure. Go running inwards, Freeman with a second, Stax back in spawn, hits the player, and then the cleanup there from Jinx. But Amen has this wraparound through Z. Bomb can be retrieved and exited at the A site where there are no defenders left. Sayoke runs forward, makes noise, and dies. We've got ourselves a 2v2.
The smoke, the bomb, sorry, Kaze had the smoke. I don't know if, yeah, he put it into Z. So now it's a very difficult retake. Time will be ticked down on the Z player, and the man at Ivy has an AWP Amen. Is he going to get dry peeked and die?
Stax very susceptible, 46 health. Amen hears the scope. Now he's not going to swing wide. He's going to wait for the walk-up. There it is. Rotation back into the A site made possible by Amen. Made possible by the fact that ViCi, even with players so far out, didn't lose bomb past ramp. They kept it there so that they were either surefire on the B site or had this rotation opening, and they get it. That 18th round, a secured second overtime at least.
Tournament point for Gosu.
Yep.
They don't even get the playoffs at the minor, which I think is a travesty if they don't win this.
And obviously, like we talked about, that $10,000 start money in overtime coming back to bite them in unison with the double op setup that they favored for the first 2 rounds. A Scout, Umps, Fomus, and Deagle.
And there it is, the first tier of the execute, that sandwich smoke that I always talk about to try to bait out utility, to deny vision on the sandwich player. Baits out some of the only utility that Gosu have on this round. Lots of smokes have been dropped. As for ViCi, they could go ahead and execute again, full exec, mollying out all their favorite spots. Zoking to lead the charge. Jinx here at ladder could potentially be offered up a frag, and Stax now has a flank.
There is some information here for the CTs to work with, but the question will be, what about the limitation in guns? So far, not so bad. Jinx denied, though. Doesn't hold off on running out from ladder room launders. He just charges into his death. And Stax's flank could still be huge. Kaze denies him. Lakia, it is all on you, and a ladder drop is the way the train comes to a close. Overtime needed by ViCi, but let's take a moment to appreciate what they just did on their map choice. They were losing 10-2 on their T side. They equalize it with the last 3 rounds, getting that 10-5 half, the bare bones minimum, right? And then we turn around with Gosu winning 4 rounds in a row. That puts them up to 14. The moment they have 14, we get to the very end overtime, and then they close it out. I mean, sure, it's not clean for their own map choice, but hot damn if that's not resilient.
What do they care, right? They can take this demo and use it as they please to try to improve their train, but at this point, all they care about is they got the win. They ended it in 2. If it went to Inferno, I think this could have been a completely different story. 100%.
So, remember, Gosu pushed them down into the loser brackets on Inferno.
Yeah, that's where they look fantastic. And so now we're going to take a look at the brackets and go over what we just witnessed and potentially the match that's happening right now.
Right. So this is the other Aussies, the Aussie bracket, right? Renegades obviously getting that top seed, qualifying to the playoffs yesterday. Obviously, we had CyberZen then eliminate the Israeli lineup in the lower brackets. Greyhound currently leading 1-0 in this best of 3. So we could very well have more Australians inbound to the playoffs. And then if we switch this one over to Group B to take a gander as to what we had unfold here, MVP beating Gosu yesterday, denying them a chance straight to playoffs. Gosu facing ViCi earlier this morning. Good resilience from ViCi. I mean, again, not only particularly on train, like we just alluded to, but all the way through the lower brackets, 4-0ing, and kind of proving that throughout this event, they've really kind of stepped it up. You know, they've been able to tap into their potential, I'd argue.
I agree. And yeah, so for these 2 teams, there's a lot of great things to say about both of them. For Gosu, going home, but they should hang their heads high. Unfortunately, they'll have to try again next major,
right?
You know, which is an extended period of time to not be playing competitively. But at the same time, they showed a lot of cool stuff. They're definitely on my radar forever. So
I think it plays into what we were saying, where at least Gosu throughout this event have kind of shown above what their average tends to be. Like they've at least exceeded expectations. So that's something to take away. Obviously, it's a small feat in a big sea of defeat itself, but at least they have that, right? We have it, folks. We have all of our playoff teams decided, and that is really exciting. But what that also means is we're done for the Asian minor here today. There's still going to be plenty of Counter-Strike because North America is only set to begin. We will be here, Launders and I, for the remainder of the day on the B stream. We're excited to get into that action, but we will have to throw this one to an extended break and be back for the second minor soon. So don't you go anywhere. We'll see you guys in a bit.